Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of NYC Crime Spot. We'll say hi to some people in a few minutes. Tonight, we're going to have a very special guest on the show. You guys know him. He's been on here before. Before we get to that, I'll shout out some people real quick. OG Ruby, what's going on? Manny's in the chat. Art Ben, what's up? BTF Phoenix, Matt, Iron Diva. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I'm sure more people will come in soon. G78, my man in Ireland. What's going on, buddy? So tonight, joining me today is, like I said, somebody who's been on my show many times. We've done work together also. If you guys remember, last summer, he made the papers in reference to the Wendy Savino shooting. Of course, he's been working on this Son of Sam case for many years. He's been interested in it, but as far as YouTube goes, I think about 5 years now. He's the first content creator that I've ever collaborated with, so it's been great to see Manny advancing in the Son of Sam field. After that, he appeared recently on July 30th. Netflix series that came out on July 30th, Conversations with a Killer, the Son of Sam tapes, which he's featured pretty prominently. And I think we'll talk to him about it. I believe he's in like every episode. And we will have a Q&A segment with Manny. I'm not going to pay too much attention to the chat, but we will have a Q&A segment. Ask your questions. I will star them, and we will get them over to Manny. More recently, he has just appeared once more, hot off the presses. Manny Grossman making the news again. Who is this guy? He is in the Post, and then other outlets picked it up. Bronx Girls 1970 murder could be tied to Son of Sam, retired detective and crime buff, believe. We'll see how buff he is when he gets on stage just in a minute. Here is him and retired Yonkers PD detective Mike Lorenzo. So retired Yonkers detective Mike Lorenzo left, and crime buff Manny Grossman think the Son of Sam, David Berkowitz, could have been the Bronx sniper who killed a girl in 1970. So Manny's in the papers again. We're going to talk about some of the David Berkowitz stuff. Before that, we'll talk about the article that just came out, and we will talk about the curious cold case of the Bronx sniper. Manny Grossman, what's going on, man? It's been a long time.
Yo, my man, Crime Spot. What's good out there, my homie?
Well, that's good, man. It's been a long time.
It's been quite a while. What was our last thing we did together? The DeMeo thing?
In person, yeah, but on here, probably about almost.
With Savino, we definitely did Savino.
Yeah. It's been a little bit of a while. Sonny Bross, what's going on, buddy? So you just made the news. You're in the New York Post. Now other outlets are picking it up as well. I saw it on Yahoo. I saw it here. I saw it there.
Yeah, we made the papers. Yeah, they just picked up I never realized how much plagiarism there is in freaking journalism. All these other things like the Independent, they pick up the New York Post article, they add a sentence here or there. They call it.
Do they add? Because I always thought it would be like they just license the rights to share things, but they add their own little flavor to it too. That's pretty.
Every now and then there's some flavor.
That's funny. I like that. All right. So let's look at that article, and then I'm going to have you. I know you prepared some slides. I'm going to have you break down this case.
Sure.
So we can just get into exactly what is the case of the Bronx sniper, and then some of the hype.
Before we get into that, though, I want to say shout out to all the Crime Spot's wonderful audience. Of course, one of the more intelligent audiences, especially in the mob genre.
Manny's on that genre stuff too, guys. He ain't sleeping. He knows about the genre. All right, listen. Let's share this article. Let's go into the article. I'm going to read through it, Manny. And if you want me to stop, I'll stop, and then I'll have you expand on it. All right?
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
All right, let's get into it. All right. So this is from the New York Post. Okay. Bronx Girls 1970 murder could be tied to Son of Sam, retired detective and crime buff, believe. Son of Sam serial killer David Berkowitz may have had his first taste of blood at only 17, 5 years before he went on his infamous New York City spree from 76 to 77, shooting 8 people and killing 4. Berkowitz may have been taking aim at folks on a Bronx street, a retired Yonkers detective and a crime buff told the Post.
All right, so pull that off for a second. Let me give the audience a little bit of an update here, a little bit of a breakdown, another breakdown.
Go ahead.
All right, so what are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about a case, and if you wouldn't mind putting up the graphic that I have there, we're talking about we're talking about a case that took place in the Bronx, specifically an area called Morrisania, around 169th Street, just a little bit east of the Grand Concourse between Morris and Grant Avenues. And what happened? Well, in the summer of 1970. Now, mind you, this had never happened before. In the history of actually New York City, there was never a sniping attacks like this. Certainly not in this neighborhood. And it didn't happen after this summer either. There were 6 incidents, crime spot, of which there was 1 homicide. And this was a big case back then. This was the spread that took place in the Daily News on October 19th, 1970, about Margaret Iglesias, who was killed. Not only was she sniped by a bullet, crime spot, but the first bullet hits her. She falls down on the ground, still alive, writhing in pain, and then the cruel sniper pumped 2 more bullets into her, killing her. So there was a certain cruelty to this sniping attack. Most of the victims were women. They were all young, and it started in about August of 1970 and went into about late September, early October 1970. So we call this a Son of Sam before Son of Sam. If you notice, they had an info phone set up. There was all sorts of hotlines you could call. This was such a big story in 1970 that it even made the New York Times, which devoted 2 separate articles, one by Paul Montgomery and one by Claire Lichtenstein, I think was her name, that talked about how this spate of shootings in the last 8 weeks, 6 people, 5 of them women, have been shot by a nighttime sniper on 169th Street between Morris and Grant Avenues. And it talked about the terror that it was bringing the neighborhood, how people were really going crazy. They didn't want to go out at night, et cetera, et cetera. In other words, a Son of Sam before Son of Sam. Now, what makes this case interesting, before we get back to the article that we were talking about, Spot, and of course, don't let me dominate this conversation.
No, go ahead. Go through it.
But yeah, I forgot exactly where I was going with that. But
it's kind of developed. It's developing its own lore, kind of. But I mean,
correct.
Yeah.
So I remember what I was going to say. So where I was going with that is what makes this interesting vis-a-vis the modern day research into Son of Sam is that we have come across this document in Berkowitz's postal application that says from June of 1970 to June of 1971, that same exact summer, he comes into this very neighborhood where he works at his father's hardware store, Melrose Hardware, 802 Melrose Avenue. Now, I don't want to give you the impression that it was right on that block. It was 9 blocks away. So it wasn't directly in that neighborhood, but Berkowitz was a known walker. We say he was known to roam. That dude would walk all the way up to Westchester from the Bronx. He bragged about rock climbing and rappelling on the Shotgun Mountains. Constantly doing outdoors activities. So for him to walk 9 blocks and get to the roof of a building was child's play. So isn't it interesting that the summer that Berkowitz comes in, who we already know is a sniping shooter because he's done Son of Sam and he did other dog attacks, and that we know uses different type of weapons, isn't it quite a coincidence that he comes into this neighborhood and all of a sudden we get a Son of Sam before Son of Sam? So the New York Post found this interesting enough to run an article. And so if you want to go back to that article, we could talk a little bit more about how this all developed.
Yeah, I want to talk more about the article, and then I have some questions as far as some of the other victims for sure. But let's get back to the article. Let me share my screen again. Okay. Detective Mike Lorenzo, whose dad worked the Berkowitz case as a Yonkers detective, and Berkowitz expert Manny Grossman, now want the NYPD to reopen the case of 16-year-old Margaret Iglesias, who was walking home from a party when she was killed at 169th between Morris and Grant Avenues in Morrisania around 2 a.m. on October 18th, 1970. And there she is right there once again. The team was struck by 3 .22 caliber bullets, once in the front, then twice in the back as she lay dying, according to a witness report at the time. She was one of 6 victims shot by the Bronx sniper on the same block over a 2-month span that year. Only her shooting was fatal. No arrests were ever made. This is a case that needs to be re-examined, says Lorenzo, who was the Yonkers cop for 20 years and retired in 2008. Lorenzo and Grossman believe young Berkowitz could have been the sniper since he worked about a mile away at his dad's business, Melrose Hardware, 802 Melrose Avenue, from June 70th to 71. He left the store when he joined the U.S. Army. So it goes on to say that Lorenzo and Grossman also point to the 100-yard targets found at Berkowitz's home after his 1977 arrest, which they contend is evidence of him honing sharpshooter skills. Why would he have 100-yard targets? He's not a hunter, said Lorenzo. There are differences between the Bronx sniper shootings and Berkowitz's murderous rampage, the two acknowledge. The later crimes are committed up close and personal, with Berkowitz firing his .44 caliber revolver through car windows, as many of you know. So I'm going to stop there for a second, man. Is there anything else in this article that you think I should read?
Not really. The rest is just about how we already have under our belt the track record of finding new victims of Son of Sam in the form of Wendy Savino, but we don't need to. We've already talked about Wendy on the. Now, can you just bring up this graphic real quick?
Sure.
Because this is what we found particularly interesting in the original reportage from the New York Times. A special telephone number has been set up by the police for anyone having information about the killing. Detectives at the Bathgate Avenue station said they were going on the assumption that the sniper was a teenager. So Berkowitz would have been 17 at this time, perfectly within the ripe age for teenage spree shooters. There were plenty of other teenage rifle people, Charles Whitman, of course, being one of the most notorious, but there were tons of stories. Planet X Filmworks, I give him credit. He found a bunch of, teenage rifle people going back into the 40s even. Yeah. So the thought that a person, and remember at this point, Berkowitz was a auxiliary police officer. So we know that he had, potentially access to firearms in that capacity, certainly within the milieu of gun culture. So we feel that Berkowitz cannot be ruled out. We would like to know why the police thought the sniper was a teenager. That's an interesting, interesting little tidbit given our subject here. So this was something that Mike Lorenzo found. He gets full credit for finding this. We're both, of course, much more interested in finding whoever did it. It doesn't have to be Berkowitz. Berkowitz makes this story potentially newsworthy in the fact that he can't be ruled out, but we want justice for Margaret Iglesias. And what's interesting, Crime Spot, is that we're already getting nibbles. People are calling us or are emailing us, messaging us on Facebook. My father was a detective. I went to I went to Margaret Iglesias's funeral. I knew her. My father worked on that case, et cetera, et cetera. So it is happening again, as they said. In that show, whatever the hell that show was.
All right. So I have some questions. Let me just shout out Bruno. Bruno, thank you so much, man. That means a lot, buddy. That's fucking awesome. Thank you, Bruno.
Wow.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. Wow. Planet X wrote early teens, 60s teen killers easily.
Yeah. So that's another thing I want to talk about too, though, as far as like that time in history. Thank you, Bruno. You're the man. I really appreciate that, buddy. Thank you for your support.
I just want to clear up real quick. Anti-Social Club Berkowitz was an auxiliary policeman, not a member of NYPD. Go ahead.
Auxiliary. I'm sorry. No, that's what you said. You did say auxiliary. So do you want to remove this or you want to keep this on the screen?
I can remove it.
Okay. So let me ask you something first.
Mm-hmm.
What's with the other victims? What do we know about the other victims? Because obviously this is horrible. This is a little girl. That's obviously gonna make people really emboldened to like what happened with this case, this little girl, this poor girl. But what about the other victims? Do you know anything about them? Is there anything else that we can?
The only two that ever made any sort of news, if you put up the graphic that I have right on here, these were the only two that were named. Now I think there were 6 separate incidents, but the only two that ever got press were this one here and the Iglesias homicide. So this one says George Soto was taken to hospital shortly after 11 p.m. with a gunshot wound in his back, and Deborah File, 18 of Morris Avenue, with a neck wound. Police believe the shots came from a rooftop or high window. So this was a string of sniping attacks, which is exactly Berkowitz's later MO and Son of Sam. The only difference is if this is him, he's further away and he's using a less powerful gun.
Right. And this happened over the span of 2 months. Was that what it was?
Correct. As soon as Berkowitz comes into the neighborhood, about a month and a half later, these start. Never happened before. And then when he leaves to go to the army, it never happens again.
Now, Morrisania, obviously I'm a New Yorker, but I have never heard that, until this. What area is that?
So Morrisania is about 10 blocks maybe north of Yankee Stadium.
Okay.
I mean, it could encompass that area as well, but this area that the sniping attacks took place on was 169th Street between Morris and Grant Avenues, and the main thoroughfare there, just 2 blocks over, was the Grand Concourse, which is a major north-south thoroughfare going from south to North Bronx. Okay. So on the west, sort of on the western side of the borough, about where Yankee Stadium is, in that general vicinity.
Okay. So as far as this case goes, obviously it's going to be what's the next move? So are you in touch with detectives, police, or?
Right now, no. We're in touch with there's some ex-police that have gotten in touch with us, particularly an ex-Bronx homicide detective who also went to school with Margaret Iglesias. So it's interesting, how these things all seem to work out. She's putting feelers out. She's trying to call in connections, but this isn't quite as slam dunk as Wendy Savino is.
Right.
So it's a little harder to get the police interested. So that's one of the reasons why I was so happy that the Post ran this article, because it builds a little bit of pressure. So
right. And let's get into this. So obviously it's very easy for the layman or somebody that just looks at David Berkowitz and looks at the area. Oh, imagine David Berkowitz did that. But obviously you've spent years going into his head, going to his psyche, examining so much about this character. What makes you think, in your mind, that he would be responsible for it, outside of the idea that he's the son of Sam?
Well, the anger that he harbored, and he was already committing acts of antisocial behavior. Now, we already know that he has a penchant and the ability to kill. So we have to always keep that in mind with this guy, especially once he reached about the age of 16 or 17. So the anger that was within him. So this Netflix documentary that I was recently in actually taught me something that I didn't know about Berkowitz, is that when he was 5 years old, his parents sent him to a psychiatrist for behavioral issues, anger issues. And the psychiatrist freaking puts a gun into Berkowitz's 5-year-old hands and says, here's all people who are bothering you in life, and lays out all these little toy soldiers on a table.
Really?
Just shoot whoever bothers you. Like, I'm simplifying this a little bit, but not by much. And they act that out in the documentary. It's highly interesting. So he learned from a young age that, you can solve your problems with the gun.
That's a weird thing. I wonder if the guy was trying to teach him instead of hurting or being violent, play with your toys and act it out. It's fun. Maybe he could have you take things another way, because
right. I mean,
he's fucking damaged.
Yeah, he's damaged, exactly. And when he was deposed for a lawsuit, the lawyer asked him, when did all your problems start, Dave? And he said, the day I was born. So when a person tells you these things, you should take them seriously. So here's a dude, 17 years old, a lot of anger. This is, if you read those New York Times articles, The sociology of this neighborhood was that it was turning from heavily Jewish, which of course Berkowitz was a member of the cultural, semi-religious Jewish working class of the New York City. And this neighborhood was now becoming Black and Hispanic, and there was the concomitant urban blight that was coming in. Most of the Jews, I should say, that were living in that area of Morrisania, they ended up where? They ended up moving into Co-op City, where Berkowitz was living with his father. So I posit, and this is on that there could have been trigger issues with that whole thing. Can you imagine the freaking people from Morrisania moving into Co-op City, what they must have been saying? Oy vey. The Schwarzes, you can't believe what the you can't believe what the Schwarzes are doing. Oy,
that's funny.
You
yeah,
should
you're right.
see
You're
such right.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's probably what they'd be saying. Yeah.
And so I posit that Berkowitz went back and he took revenge upon this neighborhood in some way. And plus, he was probably already harboring issues towards women. So, you know, to me, his particular criminology and his proximity to the neighborhood screams out that a modern police NYPD should be looking at this case again with an eye towards it possibly being him, finding the files. That's what we ultimately hope to find, and interrogating David Berkowitz. Will you get a confession? Maybe you will. Maybe he's been holding this in for so long he wants to let us know. I don't know, but I truly believe that it's him. I could never say it's him 100%. I hold open the possibility of it being somebody else, but highly unlikely that a sniping attack, which is extremely rare, just so happens to be in the neighborhood where Berkowitz has close proximity to, intimate knowledge of, and the summer that he just happens to arrive just a few blocks away, working at his father's store, probably hearing all sorts again of all this negativity coming in from the old timers. So
right. And he has talked about I've heard you talk about it, him, playing on rooftops. I mean, it's not like he's not.
He wrote in his letters to Abrahamson, a psychiatrist, about how he would throw things at people from rooftops. Now, I used to throw snowballs at rooftops off of people, but I never became a shooter. But he did it, and so yeah, him getting up to rooftops was no problem. The thought of him throwing things at people. I only threw snowballs. I think he said he threw rocks and dangerous things at people.
Yeah, and this was the same block, if I remember reading this correctly, or within the same stretch, or what is the real distance of these shootings?
Literally within a one block stretch.
That's so weird, dude.
There's only two buildings it could possibly be.
That's so weird.
If I get Google Earth up, can I share it with you?
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I would love to see it, actually, yeah. Because it's so strange. I'll look at some comments real quick. Proletarian scumbag, what's going on? With his big mouth, could he keep quiet about it? Yeah, I mean, he liked to write, for sure. I don't know how much he really likes to talk. I mean, especially nowadays, he only talks about one thing. Our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, the fake Christianity. Hold on.
Trying this MO out from a distance before getting the confidence to get up close. Pretty common among these guys who escalate over time.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, go ahead, share away.
So, hold on one second. Can I share this? Present. Stop screen. Present. I think I can. Here we go. All right.
There you go.
So you have to put it up. All right. So let me just zoom out a bit, and so we can see what we're talking about here. So for those who don't know, this is the Bronx. It's much bigger. The Bronx actually goes from all the way up here, all the way down into here, to here, and to here. Berkowitz grew up in this area right here, roughly around there. And this took place all over here in an area called Morrisania. For people's reference, here's Yankee Stadium, right down here. Bronx Courthouse in roughly the same area, right about here. And so this area is like right up here.
Okay.
So this took place between these two blocks right here, Morris and Grant Avenue, and we'll go down and we'll see what this looks like. There's only 2 buildings on either side that it could have been. This one over here, which, by the way, if you go into this little...
Oh, that's cool.
There, you can get up on the fire escape, and there's a ladder that goes up to the roof right there.
Wow.
Okay, which I discovered with Lorenzo the other day. That's right there is where we took the picture for the New York Post. And so you have this building, or you could just walk in. You know, these buildings weren't covered with surveillance cameras like they are now. And then this building right here. And that's it. Margaret Iglesias was killed on this corner right here. We're not sure which one it is. I think it's this one right here, but it could easily be this one right here. And the other ones were shot right on this block. So we're not talking about a very large area here. And Berkowitz was very intimate with this neighborhood. He had a very close tie. I don't want to say what it is because there's certain things that we're trying to keep under wraps.
Okay.
He had a very close tie to a location. You see that this is like a hill?
Yeah, yeah.
He had a very close tie to a building, an edifice that was right at the top of this hill. When he was about 13, 14 years old. So he knew this area. Sniping attacks are extremely rare. His MO was as a sniper. They found a .22 rifle and a scope in his apartment when they arrested him. It wasn't the same gun. We ran checks on the serial number. But he did commit crimes with long guns. He would shoot dogs. And there's even some people who believe he has some victims up in Yonkers that he did with rifles. The people who actually think that Wendy Savino was shot by her husband are actually now some people who are like actually embracing this Bronx sniper story. It's kind of strange. Yeah.
So the Whitman thing that happened, I'm just looking at the Whitman thing because, you know, I don't mean to say it this way, but it's a bit of an innovative way to kill people, right? I mean,
yeah,
especially back then. Nowadays, it's easy. It's been done. You can see it on TV, whatever it is, but it's not. It's a sick thing to do. You really got to think about that.
Yeah, and Whitman was a spree. He knew he wasn't going to get out of there alive. Whereas the sniper attacks, though, went over 3 months, 2 or 3 months. So that is a huge difference. That implies calculated activity, planning, knowledge of escape routes, intimate knowledge with the neighborhood, getting in and out undetected. Now, I'd like to know why the cops thought it was a teenager. There must be something in the files that points to a teenager being seen. And if that's the case, then Berkowitz is even more in play.
It's a good question. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's not like, it's not like it doesn't seem to be gang stuff. I mean, when I see, when you see a little girl get killed, it seems to just be random, right?
Random.
Somebody's testing something out. Somebody's fulfilling some sick fantasy. I don't know, man. It kind of bugs me out that like they never did catch whoever it may be, or they never did. Do you have any inkling of how far that investigation went at the time, or was it just kind of?
I do not. I know that they never found anybody, and any contemporary reportage of it ends by October. There's never another mention of the Bronx sniper again, and nobody connected it to Son of Sam when Son of Sam was arrested or even happening. I'm surprised that I haven't seen in any of the police files from Son of Sam that not one detective even tried to connect these two. And it's most likely because they just didn't have any awareness of it.
Right.
Some people will posit that the fact that these were poor, kids from a bad neighborhood getting shot, that lent itself to not being taken as seriously. I think the cops probably took it seriously. But I think after a while there was just nothing. It was a stranger doing it, and those are the hardest cases to solve.
Wow.
Lorenzo's an experienced detective. He said that in these buildings there were probably 100 different informants to the local cops. The cops knew everybody in those buildings, and not one person dropped a dime on a guy shooting from the building. Like, in other words, it wasn't somebody from that building.
Right. It could have been somebody that was just in or out.
In and out. Exactly.
In and out, coming back, messing around. That's interesting.
Correct. Waiting. The first two incidents actually took place consecutive days, and then the person waited, and then it happened every couple of weeks.
It's very bizarre, dude. It's fucking so weird.
It's so rare in the annals of crime to have sniping attacks. Yeah. You can count them on your hands, the famous sniping attacks in the last 100 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I know a couple. I mean, obviously you got John Muhammad and what's his name? Lee Boyd Malvo. Yeah.
Right. And that was a little bit similar to this, and the fact that they were stealthy and they were doing it over time and they weren't trying to get caught.
Right.
Whereas Whitman was. Yeah. So it's even rarer an event to have an organized sniper doing things. And then, of course, this person just goes away and stops doing this. But then David Berkowitz comes out 6 years later and basically takes it citywide, right?
Yeah. Let's catch Phoenix up. Phoenix says, how many victims were there? Were they all women, female? Like what?
The reporting on this only speaks again of those two incidents. They say that there were 6 different victims, but they only have reported on 2. The first one that they reported on was a male and a female, very much akin to the male and females that got shot later in Son of Sam. And then Margaret Iglesias was a single female who got shot. And then the reporting said that most of the victims were women, but they didn't give ages or names. And in the New York Times article, that was what was going around the neighborhood. Somebody was quoted as saying, this guy must be a nut that got something against women, right? Which is, of course, what Berkowitz was all about.
Yeah.
So you're going to tell me that there's no smoke here?
It's definitely a little smoke. I mean, when you put everything together, it's just, I'm trying to think.
Try to rule them out.
I can't rule him out. I mean, he's a suspect. I mean, I really can. I know you're keeping some stuff back for later on. My whole thing is like that bothers me is the whole police angle. But I guess we can come up with 100 different things about the culture back then, whatever it may be. But so I guess it's a case where the press, I guess they showed up to the scene, or they talked to the police about the little girl being killed and whoever else, and they told them, yeah, we're working on, about 6 of these we have in the past, however many. And then the press lead kind of just died, I guess. Like they were no longer interested in it, or
the story died, I guess, like everything in the big city. It's here today, gone tomorrow, especially in an environment where there were like 2,000 murders a year. You know what I'm saying?
Of course. Yeah, that was just the beginning. I mean, there was 1970.
Yeah. That was when
about 20,000 on the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But if you want to put up this here, let me get it. I forgot. If you just want to put up this article.
Sure. Guys, keep asking the questions. I will ask them to Manny. Thank you.
Again, like this was a big deal enough that the New York Times wrote basically a sociological piece. Sniper heightens fear in anxious Bronx area. This is very reminiscent of the later reporting in Son of Sam. But this talks about how, in the last 8 weeks, 6 people, 5 of them women, have been shot by a nighttime sniper on 169th between Morris and Grant.
That's insane.
These shootings have brought notoriety and terror to the block. Okay, it's like very similar to what was going on with Son of Sam, and then it talks about all the drug addicts coming in the neighborhood, which Berkowitz actually did complain about happening in his own neighborhood. So we know that he harbored anger about changing demographics in neighborhoods. So maybe that plays into this. You got to think about this from all angles. Anyone out there, try to rule him out.
Yeah, so they're saying basically this is a drug, prostitute infested spot.
Yeah.
They don't let anybody go by. The police, where the hell? Yeah.
But the victims weren't prostitutes.
Oh no! I'm just saying, like,
I know you're not saying.
I don't know what's. So this is coming from the people in the neighborhood. Okay.
Yeah, and then this story goes on. I don't have the rest of it. At least it's not that interesting. It goes on to interview all the Jewish business owners who talked about how it used to be all Jewish and how it's changing. And so on and so forth. Oh
my God.
It was terrible.
Do you believe it? All right, let me get some questions in for you, Manny. Let's see. Come on, get some questions in. We got some. J Mass 8895. Hey Manny, what do you think of the Carr brothers? An old school jam.
The Carr brothers are now. Before we go on, let's talk about who these Carr brothers are. They were sons of Sam, sons of Francis, daughter of Wheat Carr, who definitely was not in the yellow Volkswagen drive down Bay 7th Street. I'm almost getting into an accident, yelling, "I'm a motherfucker!" Alan Masters, and then we have John, allegedly Wheaties, unquote, quote, unquote, allegedly Carr. And then we have Michael Vale Barron, Charnkowski Carr, making up the triumvirate of the Carr brothers and sisters, who were all mere victims of David Berkowitz, the son of Sam. He victimized that family to no end, writing them letters, shooting their freaking dogs, sending in Molotov cocktails, getting them involved with another family that he was involved with, and generally just making their lives hell. The Carr brothers had nothing whatsoever to do with David Berkowitz and the commission of the Son of Sam crimes. And if you want to know any further, you can go to my channel, The Grossman Files, where there's a million videos proving exactly why I say these things using first-hand primary evidence.
There you go. Planet X film says, similar to the Lone Sniper in 63 at Gaviota Beach before Domingos Edwards murderers. Didn't I don't know, I think you said, didn't Berkowitz have plans to go out to
Correcto.
Montauk or Hamptons or something and just blast off? That's fucking nuts. Tell me about that.
Well, that was his last attack. It was going to be him going out to the Hamptons, going to a beach and shooting everybody within range with a freaking submachine gun. So you're going to tell me that Son of Sam had a problem using other types of weapons? That was supposed to be his last attack. Allegedly, he went out there to actually do it, and then it started to rain. So that was God telling him that it wasn't the right time, and he didn't do it. But yeah, he was talking about using see, a lot of people think so singularly about Son of Sam and David Berkowitz. You can't think of him as July 76 to August 77. Some monster comes out of the ether and just starts shooting people. We already know he started his main spree in 1976. In April of 76. We already know that he can't be ruled out for a spate of sniping shootings in 1970. He was Son of Sam from the day he was born, and he continues to be now with all his ancient, tired, old, and decrepit whoosao about Christianity. Oh, I'm going to just spout off a Bible passage, and then I'm going to expiate all my crimes. And that doesn't work that way, Berkey boy. We got your number. Now we know what you possibly did.
When was his stabbing, his first stabbing that happened? When he moved to Co-op City, right?
1975.
What was that? Because there's some people that aren't. So talk about that, because that's an interesting one too, that many people probably might not even know about.
Well, in 1975, Berkowitz was getting the taste, the lust for killing. I say he was getting it again after having done it in 1970, but he's getting a lust for killing, and he isn't sure exactly how he's going to do it. So he first experiments with a knife, and he on I believe it was Christmas Eve, 1976, 1975. I'm sorry. He ended up where close to home, right in the Co-op City, right over a bridge over I-95, where he proceeded to repeatedly stab 15-year-old Michelle Foreman, who was wearing a thick jacket enough that luckily he didn't kill her, but he did severely injure her. She spent several weeks in the hospital, and he copped to doing that during his confession. So yeah, so he was a knife user. He said he didn't like it. It wasn't like the victims were too real to him. They became humanized when he stabbed them, so he could no longer go through with that. So that's why he went to a gun.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a little too close for comfort, I guess. For some people, I mean, for some people it's the best, but hey, well, Manny, we can answer. Joined late. Wanted to ask about the other Bronx sniper victims. Have they been identified? Do you have dates that they were all shot, all 22?
They were all 22 as far as we know, and the answer to your question is no. Unfortunately, the only names we know are Deborah File, Pfile, Margaret Iglesias, who of course was the homicide, and I think it was George Sotos. It was.
Yeah, everyone said Soto, I believe, or Soto.
Yeah, Soto, something like that. And those were the only victims ever identified. But again, it was six people were shot by a nighttime sniper. So we know that there's at least there's three others that have not been publicly identified.
Do you think Berkowitz was at all inspired by the Zodiac killer in California?
Definitely, and I have one of my most popular videos was actually done with in conjunction with Mike Lorenzo, who discovered the Bronx sniper case, where he goes for about an hour and a half about all the similarities between Son of Sam and Zodiac, and how Berkowitz was definitely influenced by Zodiac.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you see the cryptic letters and all that, although Berkowitz is not nearly as intricate with it, but interesting nonetheless. Brian says, I could only stomach the first 10 minutes of the Michael Franzese visits Berkowitz, turned the rest off.
Stop the baloney, huh? Who the hell knew?
Stop the baloney, huh? Stop the baloney.
Yeah, I did a reaction video to that. I had some issues with that as well. You could watch that video if you care to.
Yeah. So this is a weird one. So this is one that I have never heard of until you started talking about it. These are the ones that you run into by accident and then it makes your head spin. I got a couple of those I'm working on right now. There's another case of the Suffolk County sniper, although they did catch that guy, but that's another low-key one that we can talk about one day.
I never heard of it.
Maybe we can go out there because we haven't collabed on anything in a while.
Oh, hell yeah!
You can swim across the water. I'll meet you out on Long Island, and then we'll check that out. No, we'll talk about that because there's some other interesting things there. Do you get access to any of his military records, David Berkowitz? I guess
I've seen David Berkowitz's military records. They're the biggest nothing burger you could ever imagine. He was a normal soldier, normal. Everything was normal. Even his infractions were extremely mundane. One was for being late to roll call or maybe not showing up to roll call, and the other was stealing food from the cantina. So that's what Berkowitz did in the Army.
A regular private pile. Look at that. A regular fucking private pile. I am in a world of shit. Well, cockatoo. But were they all reported? Well, we're assuming they were at least reported to the press, right?
You mean the sniper shootings?
Mm-hmm.
The only reporting is of those two different shootings. The other reporting, there was never any reporting of every attack in that. The only can you hold on, let me put that back up. Hit them up with that again. It says here in the last 8 weeks, 6 people, 5 of them women, have been shot by a nighttime sniper. So in some attacks, there were 2 victims, like with Soto's. Here, let's find that first one. Whoops. Bronx sniper wounds 2. So George Soto and Deborah File. So right there is 2 out of the 6. Margaret Iglesias was walking with her friend, but she was the only one shot. And then there's simply no information whatsoever about the other incidents. But they're there because they said there were 6 people shot. Here, more than 50 policemen searched the area. All they found was a smashed .22 caliber rifle bullet. Investigators were unable to determine where the shots came from. The 5 previous victims, all of whom survived, were also shot on 169 between Morris and Grant Avenues. The senseless shooting started on Saturday, August 22nd, when a 30-year-old man was hit in the chest by a rifle slug. The following night, 2 women were shot. One was hit in the left thigh, the other in the chest. So there's the other 3 that we're talking about. The Phantom Sniper claimed 2 more victims on the night of September 1st, Deborah File and George Soto.
I mean,
that accounts for all of them, right?
That
there.
name alone, like if you phrase it that way, the Phantom Sniper, they could have done anything with this case. They could have blew this thing up as big as they wanted to.
You're absolutely right.
The Phantoms. Imagine the Phantom Sniper on like big bold letters on the post or something. They were like, "What the fuck?"
That's why we say it's a Son of Sam before Son of Sam. It had that flavor.
And it's like the weird thing that bothers me is like, I bet if this girl, this poor girl was just snatched off the street, they would have never stopped looking for her. We would still be talking about it today. The girl who disappeared, but she gets like sniped, lying dead in the street, and it's like, oh,
it's just forgotten about. I'm definitely going to get in touch with the local councilwoman to see if we could rename that street for her, because there's only one chance now of ever finding out about this. Either we got it right, it's Berkowitz and he confesses, or somehow or other enough people see this and there's the last vestiges of people who could tell us what's up. They're all going to be in their 70s and early 80s at this point. We don't have much time left, but maybe some enterprising young detective will want to look for these files in NYPD and see what they can do. So, it's all about kind of keeping this in the public consciousness as much as humanly possible. And so, all right, did you find out where he bought his 22 when he was arrested? I'm sure there's a paper trail. The answer to that is no. They found 2 actual 22s, but only one. There was a 22 Greenfield rifle, and there was a Charter Arms AR-7, which was a 22 as well. But they didn't find that actual gun. They only found the box to it. I did do serial number checks, and both of those guns are post 1970. But it isn't far-fetched that a person would dump a gun that they used in a homicide. I only contend that we got the 44 because he wanted to be famous. He wanted to be known with that gun. So, he actually handed it to the police the night of the shooting. But that doesn't negate the fact that I believe that he got rid of the 32 he used in Wendy, and he got rid of the 22 he used. If he was the Bronx sniper, he got rid of that one as well.
Right, and the 44 plays into the whole taxi driver thing.
Correct. It was his image. He had just spent a year, making himself famous. He controlled the parameters of that arrest. And part of it was giving up that 44, the famous 44. But I believe he kept his secrets. He kept Wendy, and he kept, again, this is just me saying it. I don't have any proof. There's a lot of smoke here, but there's no actual fire. But I believe that he was the Bronx sniper. So BTF Phoenix, right?
Oh, she's always with the puns and the jokes.
So would that make the prequel to Son of Sam as One of Sam? No, but it does bring up the notion that I believe Son of Sam is a lifelong thing to Berkowitz. He's always been Son of Sam, and he continues to this day with his mocking of victims, his lying to his fan base of Christians. It's a part of his kink.
I understand what the press reported, but did Lorenzo find any corresponding police? I don't know if you have anything or you're working on something.
No. This is purely going to happen from the pressure of the crowd. Right now, all we have is this sniping attack, the knowledge that it happened, as well as not deep knowledge of Berkowitz's criminology and psychology. What we freely want to say is that we want publicity. We want people to get interested in this. It seems to be catching on, actually. And we're hoping that it creates enough movement that the police will look for these files. God knows if they even still exist, Crime Spot. We're talking about 55 years old.
Right. And that's the thing with a lot of this stuff. Like, obviously, you ultimately want to get to that point where you could look at some files, right?
That's the whole name of the game.
But, the public awareness, the idea that you made it into the post, this whole story, that's step one, right? Because for anyone that has ever, listen, if you're a police officer and you have connects or you're this guy or that guy, fine. But anyone who has ever tried to request a file, whether it be the FBI, NYPD, no one's lining up to do you favors. They don't care that you're obsessed with something from 30 years ago. They got better things to worry about.
Right.
So, nowadays, a lot of this stuff is being brought back because of the work you do, the work that people on YouTube, the sleuths, all this other stuff. This is the way of the world, which is good. It gives us a lot of power, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the smarter of the policemen who are out there should be able to discern who's a lunatic and who's for real in the true crime community, and they should work with people like us. I mean, Detective Klein worked with us on Wendy Savino, and we ended up closing out that case because there was such a strong argument to be made for Berkowitz being her shooter. And yeah, that wasn't something the cops were looking at. So if we can do our part as citizens to bring justice to these victims, then we should do it. And of course, no one could pick every cold case that exists out there, but for those of you who are interested in this, pick one that's within your purview of interest. Like, I happen to look at potential cold cases of Son of Sam, and that's the only one I'm looking at. But and then focus in on that and see what you can do. You might find a receptive police, and that's what we're hoping for in this case, of course.
Yeah. I haven't spoken about it on my channel yet, but I am working on one with a certain group of people at the moment, which is pretty interesting. And when whatever happens with that comes to fruition, we'll talk about it. But it's very interesting. It's a very interesting process also.
Yeah.
Child of Truth, $4.99. Thank you. Or he was only the son of Sam, or he was only the son of Sam. You're continuing the legacy of Maury Attorney by adding an additional crimes because you can't wait for this to end. I guess
it's not even legible English. I mean, what is that person trying to say?
I appreciate the $4.99, Child of the Truth. Thank you so much. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say to that. I mean, if most people that do this, like, I don't know. Thank you for the $4.99 again, but I don't know if people think like most people that do this, like, this is how they make a living, or this is what they're doing to get. Like Manny, I have to talk about the son of Sam, or else I'm going to be homeless. I need money, or so. Like, what's the gain? I know for a fact there's no financial gain, like, just from being a creator. And obviously the New York Post isn't writing you a fat check to do a fucking story, whatever. No. So this is just like, it's what you like to do, right? This is what you like to do.
This is a great way for me to pass the time because it's an interest of mine, and plus I get to help people.
J Mass says, my uncle said he met Berkowitz when he was serving in the army and he creeped him out. Is that true? That would be that's pretty interesting. Let's see. Did you ever watch the movie Summer of Sam?
Yes. And in fact, one of my guests, my repeat guests, Gary McNerney on my channel, J Mass, was a featured extra in that movie. He was in the Yankee Stadium scene, and you should be able to recognize him from that scene.
I mean, aside some of the silliness of the movie, I kind of like the tone of it. I like the feel of it.
I thought it was a decent film. I saw it in the theater when it came out.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some the dog, obviously, that scene is funny.
Yeah.
But But I like it. It's got a good feel to it. I think I wasn't alive, but I think it probably captures the time pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I was only 4 when Sam went down, but it definitely captured the feel.
Manny, did you check the files for the Bronx tenements people living in the area at the time in 1970?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what files I'd be looking for.
Well, you did said something about a location close to there earlier, which you're not going to expand on at the moment, though.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with the Bronx tenements in that area. I mean, maybe he's seeing, was there a person living in those tenements that was violent? Yeah, probably.
No, I think maybe he's referencing someone maybe that might be related to Berkey somehow, maybe something like that.
Oh, okay. To get in
that's
touch
how
with
I took
people.
it. I mean, G78 is pretty good. That's probably what he's thinking. But
Yeah,
maybe
I don't
not.
know.
Maybe not.
It's hard to tell.
Let us know.
I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was bad at all. But I don't really know exactly what you're talking about. What did BTF say?
Do you think the sniper shot from the same building each time? Do you think the evidence they have that they could figure out where the sniper shot from?
That's a good question. I don't have a clue. I don't know what the cops did. I would love to be seeing these files. I would love to be working with the cops if potentially they find these files. Because I might catch certain things that they might not, knowing the case. But I don't have a clue. I don't know where the sniper was. All I know is that he only could have been on those 2 buildings, maybe the one across the street, but the main ones are those 2 buildings that we showed.
Right. All right, cool. Any more questions? Bring in your questions. You have any questions? I haven't spoke to you. I haven't spoke to you since. Well, I haven't had you on the channel since this thing came out. So maybe people want to ask you questions about this. I have a couple questions.
Oh, sure.
I have a couple questions. So first of all, you're in this documentary a lot. I believe you're in every episode. Is that correct?
I am featured prominently in every episode.
Right. And this is Conversations with a Killer, the Son of Sam tapes. Came out back in July. It is available to watch on Netflix. Manny is in pretty much every episode. Not pretty much. He is in every episode. So what was that like? What was that experience like? Obviously, they don't tell you how much you're going to be in it, right? You just film a bunch of conversations and what happens, happens.
On the contrary, they told me pretty much right from the start that I was going to be the center, one of the center hubs of the documentary. That it was kind of gonna be loosely based on all the work that we did, and they said that I'm gonna be the star of the show, such as it was. I mean, everybody's forgotten about it completely, including myself. I might add, not the biggest deal for me in the world. I was just glad to be working with professionals. These people were great from start to finish. They were hipped to my video series, and they were working already with this cat named Jack Jones, who had what are called the killer tapes. These were tapes that he made in 1980 of David Berkowitz at Attica prison in New York. And so the title Conversations with a Killer was based off of these tapes, but then when they saw my video series, they wanted to incorporate my work in it as well. So I did a lot of research for them, a lot of consultation, and then I filmed 2 full days. In fact, as much as I was in it, they cut out 98% of my jive. I didn't, and that's basically it. But it was a great experience to work on them. I always say I'm glad that I did it. And at least I did it. Then, I could say that I did that, and it's better than not to be able to say that I did that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be living forever on the #1 streaming platform in the world. Or is YouTube the #1 stream? I don't know, whatever. The pay platform, whatever, the most recognizable Netflix thing, whatever. It's going to be there forever.
Well, no, it won't, because eventually the day is going to come when electricity stops working. I don't know when that day is, but
the grid's going to go down. I get it. So guys, listen, get your DVD player, start recording things. Make sure you get your thing and record.
But it was a it was a great experience to do because also we were able to get Wendy Savino in it, permanently tying her to the case. But also it wiped out it wiped out the stain of the first Son of Sam documentary that came out in 2021. Not that I thought that was bad, but people, and we're talking about the Sons of Sam, which explores the work of Maury Terry. The reason why I say I'm glad that it came out and supplanted that one is because people use that Sons of Sam documentary to throw in my face, see, Maury Terry was right, and they don't have any knowledge of the fact that that documentary actually makes him the opposite. It shows him to be an obsessed, kind of lunatic, deranged, crazy person who no one took seriously because his shit was bullshit, man. And that's really the main takeaway from that first documentary, but no one seems to get that. So I'm glad that, like, now we have this bookend to that, which is actually as close to the truth as is humanly possible.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Well, this is a good comment. Thank you, Cockatoo, because I know you had a lot of questions before. I didn't know where you were coming from, but he said, whether it's Berkowitz or not, the fact is there's an unsolved serial shooter with at least 6 victims. That's exactly correct.
No doubt. And that's Detective Lorenzo's main motivation. We believe that it's Berkowitz, and of course, that's what makes this story newsworthy, and that's what gets it in the press. But ultimately, there's, like you say, there's an unknown shooter out there who might still be alive, evading justice.
That's crazy.
And it could be David Berkowitz. Did you search the area for graffiti like you did before? No.
FBI profiler John Douglas said when he interviewed Berkowitz, as he started mentioning dogs commanding him, Douglas called him out similar to Franzese, and then Berkowitz smiled as if to say, "You got me."
Yeah, that whole story about dogs commanding him was made up. He was feigning an insanity defense. This guy knew what he was doing the whole time. Was he crazy? Yeah, of course. You have to be crazy to shoot people, especially like he did. Was he suffering from delusions? Yeah, it seems like he was. But a lot of that jive was made up to exaggerate his
That's interesting, because let me ask you, because when he's in court, I know that he has like some weird like fucking autist rage fucking outbreaks. There's some awesome Marilyn Church is actually the court sketch artist, because I love what she's done. She's actually the one that drew some great drawings of Berkowitz like flipping out. She's great. So what is that about? Was that a part of the whole?
Well, it's funny because I don't think anybody, and myself included, has ever been able to really conclusively say, are these things real or are they fake?
Okay.
And I think that there's a mixture of both in there, because obviously he's psychotic enough to kill people, and obviously he's psychotic enough to dream up this stuff about demons and dogs speaking to him. But like, how much of that is actually him and how much of that is something he invented for himself? And I don't think we'll ever really know.
Have you ever read Dark Dreams by FBI profiler Roy Hazelwood? I have not myself. No.
Never.
No. Maybe it's time to check it out. He has delusional pathological liar. Yeah.
Are there any questions from like the beginning of the chat?
Yeah, let me go back.
I think I thought I saw a few in there.
Let's see. I gotta get my mouse. Let's see. He can hit. Oh, Sonny Bross, what's up, buddy? Was Berkowitz ever questioned about this? That's one question.
He was not.
Yeah, the car wreck. A Jason Goodman comment. Oh my gosh. All right, how many victims?
Do you ever see the Jason Goodman? There's some channels on YouTube dedicated to getting his best.
I love those videos of
You've seen
him flipping out with advice. Dude, it is so fucking
You should
funny.
show one. Get one up.
I caught one on my own once. I think that I sent you. I must have been subbed to him, and I just caught it, and I put it on, and I saw it like live. I think I was like, "Oh my god, this is the best fucking thing ever."
It's hilarious.
Yeah, tell me how to find it, and I'll find it.
I put into YouTube Jason Goodman yells. Jason Goodman yells at a biker. Or
so while I find it, give a couple people a rundown of Mr.
Right.
Goodman.
So Jason Goodman from Crowdsource the Truth. Now I don't want to say too much about him because he hates my guts. He calls me a social engineer. We used to be best of friends. We used to work together. We used to work together on Son of Sam back in the days.
That's the guy you were with when I first found you. It was you and Goodman.
I mean, he gave me a lot of credibility in those days because he was the man on COVID and the COVID hoax. But he was like my hero. I got in touch with him. He took an interest in what I was doing, and we created a pretty powerhouse little Son of Sam community going on. And then, long story short, a third party got between us, and he got pissed off at something that third party did, blamed me for it. And then ever since then, I've been a social engineer, an asshole. But
even I saw him. No, go ahead.
Even when we were together, I would be like, yo, you need to put some shade on that anger, bro. Like, you're going to mess with the wrong person.
Yeah, I saw him on this channel Redacted that has like 3 million followers. Like, it's a big channel. And he was there breaking down the Charlie Kirk thing, how like special effect cameras. I don't know what he was on, but he ended up on this really big fucking channel that I watch once in a while.
Here, I got the channel. It's called The LARP Intelligencer.
Oh, I found another one. It was Jason Goodman, Crowdsource the Goon.
See,
and it's a bicycle. It's a bicycle compilation. I think.
Okay, get it. Let's watch.
No, it's not. It's not. Tell me what to type.
Jason Goodman, Crowdsource the Truth. Love is in the air.
Right.
I think that should be a fun one.
Love is in the air. This is him. Yeah.
Can you show that with audio?
This is so good. All right.
This is classic shit. This is like Bernie Gets Part 2.
Oh, and that guy that he walks with. What's that guy's deal? That guy's funny too.
Charles.
But he's not nearly as nuts. At least I don't think.
No, he always subtly tries to walk away.
Yeah.
Uncomfortably.
Yeah. All right, let's watch it.
You recording. Get your fucking bicycle off the sidewalk, you dumb little bitch. Get the fucking bicycle off the sidewalk! It's against the law, you stupid little bitch. I'm never gonna be done. Get your fucking bicycle off the sidewalk! Do something to these people. Not gonna do anything, Jason.
That's Charles.
Why are they allowed to break the law? Not allowed to break the law. Isn't it against the law to have a bicycle? I'm walking away.
But most of all, I'm...
Hey, settle down. Take it easy. What the scallop?
It's a public sidewalk.
Yo, bro, there's bigger things going on right now.
They're breaking the law. Get her off the sidewalk. Just tell her to get... Look at how much time you're spending talking to me. Tell her to get the fucking bicycle off.
That you saw Charles slinking away.
Yeah.
And that's where the broadcast ends. Just have the ability to do that.
Oh my god! And there's like a whole highlight reel of those too. Did he ever do that with you?
No. We didn't do any real walk and talks in the city like that, and I made it pretty clear to him that I wasn't really gonna tolerate that. I didn't want to bring unnecessary heat and attention upon myself.
That is crazy. I mean, I could never. I mean, that's like a young girl, and I could never. You fucking bitch.
I mean, the anger comes out of nowhere. Yes, I was born in 1973.
Yeah. That does throw people for a loop sometimes, Manny. I think he's a vampire. So what's next, man? Now it's like the waiting game, right?
Well, not really. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into these things behind the scenes, which is really where, of course, all the interesting stuff happens. And so we're gonna keep things a little bit under the radar. Definitely not gonna, start blabbing about what's going on. Hopefully, there'll be a resolution to this in some way or another. Hopefully, the NYPD will reopen it, or at the very least, be able to be like, "Yo, we looked for the files; they don't exist. Sorry, you're just shit out of luck." Like, I'll accept that if that's the truth. There's not much more we can do. But yeah, we're working on it behind the scenes. And other than that, I'm pretty much out of material, man. Like, let's collaborate on something because
we're gonna do something soon. I think we should go out to the island. We should go out to Suffolk County. We'll talk about the Suffolk County sniper.
All right.
And there's some other things attached to it that we can do as well. Berkowitz was responsible for sniping murders. Any reason why you think he wouldn't want to admit to those?
Good question, because allegedly he's a Christian, so he should be admitting to them, but I don't believe that's to be the case. And plus, he'll know from his friends letting him know that me and Lorenzo are the people behind this. So he has such a personal hatred towards me, and I'm not kidding about that. He blogs about me. His most recent two are on his website now.
Yeah, talk about that. Hold on. Talk about that, because I don't know if people are aware of that either. So David Berkowitz is well aware that you exist.
Oh,
more than aware, very well aware.
He's not only aware, he hates my guts. He thinks I'm the devil incarnate, the worst person on the planet. And he's absolutely 100% obsessed with me. I'm all he thinks about. And so he'll never cop to this, mainly because it came from me. Or maybe he will. I mean, we don't know. First thing we got to do is get some files, and then we can start talking about those other things.
Guys, and here's another thing I want to talk about too, because I see a lot of comments. Obviously, Manny has a lot of haters. He's a bit of a polarizing guy. He's got a lot of haters, losers, not good friends, whatever. Whatever. He's got a lot of people that don't like him. And a lot of the comments that I see often is that they do this thing where David Berkowitz is born again. He wouldn't lie. He's this. Let me explain something to some people in case you don't know. I personally know a born again Manny who is probably in his 50s, and he got born again sometime in his 40s or whatever, right? And this person's a nice person. I'm not saying there's anything bad about him, but he is the biggest fucking liar I've ever met in my life. All this fucking guy does is lie about shit. Places blame on other people.
Of course.
It's just, he's one of the weirdest dudes I know. And I'm not even saying he's a bad guy. He's really not. But, he does his Facebook Bible things. He goes live. He goes to church. He's so involved with the church. He's a real born again. He's always preaching Jesus like they all do. He's the biggest fucking liar that I've ever met in my life. He just finds excuses to lie about things. He's a fucking slacker with other things. And so that doesn't mean anything just because someone's like a born again that, he's going to be honest. He's going to be truthful.
Right. And the
way
they
fucking work that way. You're living in delusional land if you think it works that way.
Yeah, exactly. And they're constantly forgiving themselves of their sins. So what good is the whole thing anyway? Yeah. Oh, I just lied. Oh, well, I should just be a better Christian then. And like they just say that to themselves every day. That's what Berkowitz in particular does.
Just look at that. Sammy the Bull is born again too. Have you ever seen my Sammy the Bull born again clip, Manny?
No.
You want to see it?
Sammy the Bull got me through some tough times when I was in Puerto Rico, though. I must admit, I just loved.
Yeah, he tells a good story about. I want to tell you about when I got made. All right, so you're pro gay.
You're pro gay. What do you want me to do about it? What do you want me to do? I can't do anything about that. I know that
John Gotti was not gay.
Gotti was not gay, that's for sure. But anyway, if you guys want to see my little short clip, this is like the flow over from the 52 topics when I act like a jerk off over there. But so Sammy the Bull did get baptized. He did the whole thing. He goes on a show, and I don't care. I don't judge, by the way. I'm not judging for that. It's cool. It's great. But, I found God now, this and that. He's all about that. So here he is. This is called Made in His Image. The Sammy the Bull story.
It's my house now. This is where I live.
That's awesome.
I live with him. I live with Jesus Christ. I may live here and walk in that door. I may die tomorrow, but I'm going there.
You took the blood oath. You agreed to keep your mouth shut. You knew you weren't entering fantasy land.
Bust your fucking mouth wide open. I'm gonna put you on your fucking knees and I'm gonna make you suck my dick.
No safety or surprise. The end.
Who the fuck in the mob says stop the baloney? What kind of statement is that?
Get to your eyes again. Can you picture what will be? So limitless and free, desperately in need of some
Was face to face with
stranger's hand.
I would kill him in 2 seconds and go right to the corpse and say, "Hey."
You did see that because that's your footage right there, or your friend's footage right there. Remember?
Who? Oh, that's Franchise's.
No, that's the Milsurp dude. That's where I got that gun thing. I think we did talk about this.
Milsurp's the man.
Yeah. Stop the baloney, baby. Saint Smeagol is reborn. Yes, he is. 999 Child Truth. Thank you. Manny, is it true that at one point you thought the Manson murders were a psyop and Sharon Tate was never killed and you saw someone transform into a lizard in front of you?
No, it is not true.
Sounds like a Billy Corgan story. I think he's going around saying that.
What this person's talking about is the fact that I once mentioned Miles Mathis, who's a conspiracy writer. I once mentioned their piece about how, actually, in a way, it was a kind of a convincing paper. But Maury Terry was convincing too, and we know that that's bullshit. So, but I found it more entertaining than anything else. Child of Truth. No, I never believed the Manson. The closest, to the extent that I give a shit about Manson, which I don't, I think it's the most boring crap on planet Earth. To the extent that I care about Manson, I espouse the Nick Schreck's theory and hypothesis that it was just a drug burn and that kind of stuff. And what was the other one that I said transformed into a lizard?
You saw somebody transform into a lizard in front of you.
I once talked about this elitist who I used to garden for, and as a joke, people didn't understand. I guess they took it seriously, but I used to say, "Yo, I swear I saw that dude's eyes turn into a lizard." And I guess that person took it seriously. It's amazing how these people remember these mundane details from years ago about things I said once or twice.
Well, it's interesting because, like, in the mob tube genre, there's a lot of characters and a lot of things that have been said, a lot of things that people remember. Admittingly, myself, there's a lot of real pathetic things that I remember. So
whatever
I'm not surprised. I'm not.
Whatever
surprised.
happened to that dude who faked that fall down the? Remember, there was a guy who was doing like.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Whew! That wasn't a good idea.
That was so fake. What was that dude's name again? I tried to find
Joe
him.
Monty.
Okay.
So listen, there's a part in this video that makes me think it's not fake. Wait, you think fake? Like he intentionally threw himself down the hill?
Yes.
Or just like, okay, because he really fell down that hill.
Because he just went on too far. He went on too long.
But if you look at it closely, there's one part where his fucking legs are like fucking, let's check it out. You'll see it. His legs are like literally fucking.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Bad.
It's the end. You see them.
I saw it. I saw the feet. I saw the legs. That poor
Joe
man.
Monty. I think he still does his live streams. He sits on the couch, chain smokes like crazy.
Yeah, he's a chain
talks
smoker.
bullshit. If I see him, I come in there and I say hi, even though he made fun of me for like 2 months straight.
I mean, I've done walk and talks where I've slipped and almost fell, but I think if you fall like that, like you fall after, you don't let it go on for so long. Anyway.
Hey, Manny and Brett, nice picture. Manny posted on his YouTube page of John Deal, boyfriend of Christine Bryan. That's what's we're at the Martin's Lounge in Ridgewood, Queens.
Yeah. When you're friends with New York City Crime Spot, you get all the good shit.
Yeah. Actually, my co-host Frank Fiorellino knew John Deal. They were friendly. He knew him from the bar, and he has a couple funny. He had a couple funny stories about him for sure. Said he was a great guy. He was a great guy.
Sammy just admitted to being the Bronx sniper on CNN.
Yeah. That would have been the first child he killed because he ended up doing it again later. But why was Joe Monte on a hillside? Well, he lives up there, way up north, like near Buffalo. I don't know. He's probably in nature all the time. Last I checked, he was in Las Vegas partying up by a pool at some hotel with club music, and he was filming, and then they got mad. They told him to stop filming, so he ended his live stream. That was the last time I saw Joe Monte. He was creeping out the women in Las Vegas, I think. And that's it. All right, Manny, any last words?
Not really. I just want to say thank you for having us on. We're trying to get the word out on this Bronx sniper thing. We think it's catching on. We think it's interesting, and it'll bring people together, which is always a good thing. And hopefully we'll get some movement. We'll get some NYPD movement, politician movement, some Bronx district attorney movement. And so we can put to rest, was this Son of Sam before Son of Sam done by Son of Sam or not?
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want all of you to check out the latest article in the New York Post, or if you just go to Google, type in Manny Grossman, Bronx Sniper, you'll get I'm sorry, did I say it's the New York Post? I said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll get the New York Post. If not that, you'll get Yahoo, you'll get Daily Mail, you'll get who the hell, it might even be on the Drudge Report at this point. I really don't know. It could be. You check it out. You can check it out, him and Detective Mike Lorenzo right here. And if you have not seen Conversations with the Killer, the Son of Sam tapes, only on Netflix, you guys can check that out unless you don't have a Netflix account. In that case, I can't help you. You got to call your uncle or your mom or something to help you out with that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Manny, thank you for coming on.
You're very welcome.
We'll see you guys real soon. Manny, please stay right there. Let me see if the last comes. I want to say goodnight. Thank you, Ruby, for holding it down. Bruno, G78, my man in Ireland. BTF Phoenix, thank you. Matt, thank you so much. Ricky Bobby, thank you. Chris, Omega. I want to say thank you to Bruno. Much appreciated. G78. Child of Truth, thank you so much. Child of Truth, once again, thank you so much. Everybody, have a good night. It was nice hanging out with you guys, and I will see you soon. Please go to YouTube and type in the Grossman Files, and you will find this guy right here. Thank you very much.